The views expressed are not necessarily those of KSCJ and Powell Broadcasting Company. This program is not intended to replace the advice of doctors or other clinical providers. Consult with your practitioner to ensure the proper course of action for you.
Welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. This program is dedicated to your mental health wellness and brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency. Here's your host, Art Silva.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well, our public program brought to you from Family Services for the purpose of your mental wellness, an approach to help you to help yourself. And weekly, we'll go over topics that we find interesting and could be interesting to your mental health. With me today are my friends from Family Services, Brenda Geisinger and Christy Spicer. Good morning, Brenda, Christy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Both are licensed therapists, and they're going to bring us their expertise and share some of their viewpoints on today's topic, loneliness and elderly. So with that, the first part of our show, we're going to kind of dedicate it to talking about the topic, hopefully to educate, bring some interest into look at your personal situation. And the second part of the show, we're going to talk about what you can do about it. And because when things aren't going well, we got to come up with the solution to go forward every day. So with that, ladies, good morning. And elderly and loneliness. Who wants to start us off here? How would you define loneliness in the elderly, the whole situation?
So when I think about loneliness, I think about a couple things. So what we really think about it to start with is when you're by yourself, right? That's usually what we think about is I'm not with other people, so I feel lonely then. But the other part of it is that it's a state of mind. And so it's not just being by yourself, like in a home. It's about feeling like you're alone. And so I think with the elderly, especially, they feel that a lot because maybe they're not able to get out and make some of those connections.
Hey, interesting. Brenda?
I think there's different phases or areas of loneliness. There can be the emotional or social or not connected to the community. And so what is the loneliness, the core of why you are feeling lonely, and really identifying that, and what can you then do about it?
Well, our segment of our population, that being the elderly, and we take a look at the pandemic we're going through right now, and that has even put more stress on the loneliness situation. You care to talk about that or any discussion there and some of the stories that you've heard or people going through this right now?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, whether they're elderly, teenagers, people in all stages of life have had to make a lot of changes with their social interactions with others, and people who, really enjoy and their mental health is strongest when they're with other people. That's really impacting them right now. And they're having to, if they want to make some changes with that, think outside the box, really think about some other opportunities they can utilize.
I find that with grandparents, when you start to, and as our seniors get older, you start to get, and as we get older, you start to understand a lot more about the changes they're going through. Loneliness caused by loss of friends. I know we all want to live a long, good, healthy, quality life, but we have losses along the way, and that affects and impacts the loneliness issue.
Well, and I think there's some routines that have just been lost, or some traditions, family gatherings or visitations. If you're in assisted living or by yourself, your family may not feel comfortable visiting you because they want to keep you safe if you're elderly. And you miss that. You miss those moments. You miss the hugs and just that conversation. So it's tough right now.
We have a wonderful woman who volunteers her time at the stuff store. And why she does it is the contact with people. She just loves being out and seeing people. She's a lovely personality. And she has the opportunity to take time off to handle her family needs. But her reason there was, I need that contact. So, and she spreads the joy also. People can be beacons of light. They can show off their best stuff. nothing worse than getting an A on your report card and nobody to tell it to. So I think this is real important, and there are limitations that come with it. I don't think we can avoid to look at the physical limitations that you'll find more so with elderly that can inhibit loneliness. Anything you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think about, some people used to be really active with different activities. Maybe they were playing tennis or golfing, and that was how they connected with people. And as, people age, sometimes physically they're not able to continue those activities. And then it is about, how do you shift and pivot or do things a little bit differently to accommodate that I can't go and do that stuff in quite the same way, but maybe there's still a way that you can, but maybe just not as fast or as long or as often. And I think that that's really important to still engage in those activities, though, that you really enjoy, especially when they're with other people. But even if they're not with others, our mental health being as strong as it can be is us enjoying the things that we do. And so whether it's being with other people or just engaging in hobbies that we find enjoyable is really important to combat loneliness.
Good morning again, everybody. I'm Art Silver, and I'm sitting here with friends from Family Services, Brenda Geisinger and Christy Spicer, and we're talking this morning about elderly and loneliness. Brenda, let me ask you a question. We've gone through some significant changes this year in delivering our services and family services, and that's the introduction of telehealth. While that is a huge plus, are some seniors or elderly technology challenged, and this gets to be a problem on them having access to this type of communication?
I think it's difficult for elderly to keep up with the times with the technology because it's changing so quickly. And being aware of that, there's a wonderful system called GrandPad, and you can get that. It's pre-programmed by family members, and you just push buttons in terms of making video calls or getting on FaceTime, things like that. But telehealth is accessible, and people can help you learn how to do that. You can call us and we can walk you through it. It's a challenge, but it doesn't mean we can't find solutions. There's friends, there's families you can reach out and learn about technology. It might take you a little bit longer, but it's definitely a way to connect with others still.
Christy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, one of the nice things too is that right now we can provide telehealth via the phone too in a lot of situations, and elderly folks definitely have access to phones, and so it's not the same as being able to see your therapist and enjoying visually seeing someone, but even connecting over the phone is a good way to have meaningful conversations with others.
We also we're talking about some of the issues that surround isolation in the elderly. Another area is just the health impact. They just may be physically unable to get around to do just very basic chores that was part of a routine. So now that routine also, which is necessary, is affected. Share your thoughts on that?
I think routine and ritual is really important. And physically, some of those things can be difficult for folks. And again, I think it's about figuring out, kind of how can you do it now, and just being able to maybe become okay with the fact that things are going to be different for a person. And that's okay. Things don't stay the same. And
I think, recognizing I may not be able to cook right now, but how can I participate in this meal? And having a voice and feeling like you still have participation and involvement with the family or the routines. It might be different, but accepting that and honoring it and being okay with that.
Well, we've gone through identifying quite a few areas around loneliness, some of the issues that it has. It forces people into a depressive state. We're just not designed to be alone. So now that we've gone through that, we're going to take our break and come back with the second half of our show and talk about some of the things that we can do to help remedy this. We got some ideas, and we're going to share those with you. So we'll be right back after a sharp break. Grab another cup of coffee, throw that English muffin down, and we'll see you in a little bit back on When Things Aren't Going Well, brought to you by Family Services.
Let's face it, that happens to all of us. However, the pandemic has compounded all of our lives and activities. Even the simplest tasks seem harder. Hi, I'm Brenda Geisinger, the Chief Operating Officer at the Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. Family Services is a United Way partner agency serving children and families of our community, and we're here to help. If you'd like to learn more about Family Services, please contact us via email, website, Facebook, or phone Mary Pickens. At Family Services, we change lives.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well on KSCJ. Here's Art Silva.
Good morning and welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well. I'm Art Silva, here with my friends from Family Services, Brenda Geisinger and Christy Spicer. And first half of our show, we discussed, we're talking about elderly, isolation, and really loneliness for everybody. So we've identified some issues, some problems. This part of the show, we're going to talk about what we can do to help. So let me ask Brenda, Christy, where do we go? How about we talked a little bit about telehealth, reaching out. Is that something that could combat loneliness?
Absolutely. I think anytime you have an opportunity to connect with another human being in a supportive, meaningful way is going to help with loneliness. And so if that's something that's hard to do through natural supports that you have, through friends or family for whatever reason, or there's just not enough of that for you, a therapist could really help fill that gap for you.
We find it's a new technology, and access to it is going to be important and ease. And I think we have programs that are out there that do this that maybe folks just aren't aware of. But it's the coming thing. I know that insurance companies have approved the use of telehealth, so that's a major change. So if you aren't familiar with telehealth, that's something you can give us a call at Family Services, 293-4900, and we'll be glad to explain how to go about getting some telehealth services. How about senior organizations like the Senior Center? We have a great one in town.
Yeah, so there's the Siouxland Center for Active Generations, who have, from what I can gather, have put in lots of great protocols and procedures to help people be as safe as possible to still get out and be social with each other during the pandemic that we're living through. And so that's a really good option in our community here in Sioux City. I also think, there's other ways to get involved too. You can look to a faith community that might be of interest to you as well, that might have specific programming to your age group, or just might have some volunteer opportunities that might be interesting to you.
I believe WIT is still offering adult learning classes. They may have to do it online, but those are out there. Excuse me, if you want to learn new things or explore hobbies or just add to your repertoire of what you currently are doing. I think the other thing is also you don't necessarily have to go out to help yourself feel better or more comfortable. You can get on YouTube and look at travel channels or travel clips and visit places you never thought you could go. You could take up Tai Chi by watching videos and doing some exercise and movements at home, because there are some people that aren't able to leave. So there's different activities you can do at home that still make you feel connected to the world and what's going on. Starting a gratitude journal, and every day just writing one thing you're thankful for. Thankful that I get to still choose the toothpaste that I use every day on my dentures or in my mouth. Just those little things can make you feel okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think another way to help yourself maybe kind of feel connected, especially to family, is we're so digitally focused these days with our smartphones and all of that, some people don't have those things, but asking a family member to send a printed picture of a grandchild or a child or family member or something fun for you to put up in your home, I think can bring a lot of joy and help combat some loneliness as well. And I think it's okay to ask for those things when you need somebody to help you with that. And they can easily do that and get those to you too.
I know my grandson's picture on my fridge brings a smile every day to my face.
Captain Calvin, yes, sir. You mentioned, exercise, and one thing we're looking at, modified exercise, particularly with the elderly. One thing we're looking at a new family services building that's going to be opening up in Q1 is putting a class in for yoga for the elderly. yoga and meditation. It'll be on site. Of course, we're going to be opening that will be due to how the pandemic goes and the controls there. But we recognize that being a helpful aid, we like to do yoga for adolescents. Yoga and meditation, that your mind is your computer, and that runs everything else in your body, so you got to keep that sharp. So we got some exciting new programs coming at Family Services, and we move to our new facility. How about taking up a hobby? Is it ever too late to teach an old dog new tricks?
Never too late. Never too late. We have to, absolutely find what you're interested in. And sometimes our interests change. Maybe you were, really into golfing, but that's not an option anymore. And maybe there's something else that would be interesting to you now. And so absolutely explore those things and see what you can learn about it and be able to start doing it.
I know a lot of people look at adopting a pet, but it's got to be the right pet for them.
Absolutely.
So that's companionship and company with the right pet. But let me ask you this. How about getting back to that routine? How about getting a schedule together where people call you? You give family, friends, put a schedule where they can call you every week at a certain time. I know grandparents do that with grandkids. I'm going to call you Sunday night at this time and call all their kids. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think the more kind of routines and rituals that we can have in our weeks can really help with loneliness because we have something to look forward to. We're looking forward to that phone call. We're looking forward to seeing those folks, even if it is virtually. And so I think that is really important. And also make the calls yourself too. You don't have to wait for people to connect with you, but, you can reach out. I think sometimes people might feel like, oh, but I might be interrupting them. In the world of cell phones and voicemail, if they're busy, they're not going to answer. You can leave them a very nice message and, you hope that they'll give you a call back when they have a chance. And so reaching out yourself and not being afraid to do that, I think is really important. And I would say no one's going to think that's a bother. Do that if that's going to be helpful to you.
I think it's also wonderful, in the wintertime, people are staying indoors and you kind of feel claustrophobic. It reminds me of that when this is going on with the pandemic and everybody looks forward to spring and getting outside and walking and seeing each other. So it's the same kind of thing of just reaching out. That phone call can be the spring and that sunshine that you so look forward to right now.
Well, I think we've covered a lot. We put some suggestions out there. There are other programs in the community, other organizations run. I know Big Brothers has a program, Christy, that they run.
Yeah, there's a couple of nice options, I think, especially for those that might not feel like they have the full energy to take on, a little being a part of the full program with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. But they have some kind of like lunch buddy programs that you would just go to the school to have lunch or at an after school program and spend, 30 minutes a week with a young person and could be a little more accessible to folks that might not have the energy to do a full-on 3-hour or whatever, on a Saturday kind of a thing.
How about pen pals? How about writing? How about getting young people? I think there's some programs out there that you can write to an elderly person, like at names of nursing homes or senior centers.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know any of that off the top of my head, but yeah, that's always an option. And, if you're living in your home and you're feeling lonely, contact a care center and say, is there someone there that I could write to? And maybe you could even have a pen pal, with those individuals who are experiencing that.
Well, this has been, we're running towards the end of our show, and this was a great topic. And I think we've also outlined not only the problems, but some of the things you can do to help correct. If you'd like more comments on this or you'd like to get more information, you can give us a call at Family Services at 293-4900, and we can cover anything that we talked about already in the program. At the end of every show, I like to give you a little mental health humor, and since we were talking on elderly and loneliness, my humor today is going to be two ladies sitting down talking with each other, and one lady saying, geez, it's lonely, no one calls me or anything. Another lady says to her, well, I get a phone call every day. This young man calls to talk about my car warranty. So I'll leave you with that, and I really appreciate you tuning in. I want to give our weekly shout-out to Jan Dewar and Marianne Kakula. And I hope you guys have great weeks. Let the sun shine on you. Christy, Brenda, thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much. And this is When Things Aren't Going Well. And we'll be back next Saturday morning at 7 o'clock right here on KSCJ. Thank you very much.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you.